another card kit to share. Spellbinders card kit of the month for April 2021. Sincerely yours. And this was a really fun kit with lots of interactive and different kinds of all occasion cards that I made. Here's card number 1. We're going to start with this pink wood grain pattern paper. And I have the measurements on screen for you. And I'm just going to use my tape runner to glue that down. For a lot of the cards, I like to leave a little bit of the white border of the card bases that come in the kit, and with this one I'm doing that as well. Then I have a piece of white cardstock, and we're going to take the stamp set and use the envelope and the small heart. And I used the oxide inks, you can kind of see on the screen there, and kind of random stamping. I started with the envelope and then filled in with the pink hearts, moving towards the upper right. And I used that little letterbox die cut as a placeholder. So I used the tumbled glass and the spun sugar oxide inks. Then we're going to take this die cut that comes in the kit of the letterbox, and you'll need like an X-Acto knife or something, nice sharp implement, and I used a metal ruler and just slit open the letterbox opening there. Because this is one of those interactive cards I was talking about. And then I'm going to use my wet glue, and actually, in retrospect, I would actually slip that little envelope die cut in first, just to make sure it's easier to get it in there, because it is pretty narrow. I struggle to get the opening open again after this, but I'm gluing down with wet glue the letterbox, and here is the end of my struggling here as I get my letter in there. And I put a little bit of positionable adhesive on the edge of that envelope because for mine I want it to be able to come out. Now if you don't want it to come out and get lost, you know, glue it all the way down. That's fine. But I kind of like that. And then I'm showing this other die cut and this other stamped image of the envelope. That's how I used them as placeholders when I was stamping to kind of visualize. Then we're going to take this die cut Lovely and Share the Love. And the Lovely die cut is just going to go flat down in the bottom right, and Share the Love is up on the mounting squares, and that's it for card number 1. On to card number 2. I have used a couple die cuts and made my own little background, and I've put this up on foam adhesive, and then I used the rainbows that are in the stamp, the arcs, and all these colors of oxide that you see on screen. I started with the largest and kind of just tried to sort of randomly stamp that out, and then went with the second largest, third largest, and fourth, and just filled in where I needed it. So then we have the die cut of the rainbow and the die cut of the sun, and I'm going to use some wet glue to attach them with the sun peeking out behind the rainbow there. And then I'm going to use the wet glue to just stick that all down flat towards the center of, well, in the center of my card, roughly. I'm totally eyeballing it. And yeah, that's kind of how I roll there. And then I'm going to take these stickers that come in the kit, and I have it on parchment paper here just because I can see through it and kind of visualize where I want it. But I found that they just they would stick to everything but what I wanted them to, so I'm adding the wet glue to them as I adhere them down. Yeah, they stuck to my fingers really well. They stuck to my tool, my little placement tool, and this is it for card number 2, but they kept falling off the paper. So card number 3, we're going to use this beautiful pink graph paper with the gold accents and the pink polka dot paper, and then a strip of gold card. And I actually have 3 cards in this month's kit that I used with a very similar layout here of the, like, 2/3, 1/3, and then a gold strip in the middle, kind of roughly those dimensions. But it's actually a great sketch for cards, I guess. I used it 3 times, but totally different cards. So then placing the gold down in the middle to bring these 2 pieces together, and a little excess there I'm going to snip off. And then there are these dimensional stickers that come in the kit. They're so fun. They make the card making so fast and easy. You see it there. And then I took the stamp set, Hello Darling Friend, stamped that out in spun sugar. And I think I have it up on mounting squares, yes. And I used my corner rounder to just chop 2 of those corners because I like that look. And that's it. that is card number 3. Pretty easy. Really great look, though. So for card number 4, we're going to use the yellow ledger paper. That's what I'm calling it, ledger pattern paper. And again, this one is going to have the little white border. So it is cut just smaller than the card base. And then there are these tags in the kit. So I'm going to use the largest tag and the medium-sized tag. And then I pulled out some white cardstock from my stash and just kind of traced around it and cut a second tag, or like a shadow tag. And I didn't even need to punch out the hole because that's being covered up. And then I'm going to stick them together and then just adhere them down to the back of the card. And I also have some ribbon that I've added to it, and boy, it was troublesome ribbon. But I do like the little bit of ribbon that was added. So gluing this down with wet glue here, I did have to add glue to keep the ribbon in place, and yeah. So then put that down kind of midway through the card, and then there's this die cut that said friends, which I wanted just friend. So I kind of snipped off with some scissors very carefully there, and you can't really tell. It's great. So it says friend, and I'm going to place that down flat, and I'm using these other dimensional stickers that come in the white dimensional stickers to kind of figure out exactly where I want it. It's really difficult to get things straight, but there were lots of straight lines in this card, so it helped. So then the oh hey, again I'm going to add the liquid glue. You know, I don't know if everybody's having trouble with that, but for these particular stickers, yeah, I felt like I needed a little extra adhesive for some reason. So that's going to go below. So it's oh hey and then friend. And finally for this card there is a little die cut sentiment that says this is for you, and I've popped that up on the foam squares and put that right above the friend. And then I'll just snip my ribbon down and definitely cut some of that footage because man, I was having a really hard time with that. And that's it for card number 4. Card number 5, I'm going to use some of my circle dies. So these circles, I put the measurements of the circles on screen. You could just cut a circle, you could trace something, you might have a die, you might have a punch. Anyway, the larger circle is in the gold, and then this was just a beautiful pattern paper, the flowers with the gold accents. Really a showstopper. And I just had a unique idea, I guess, with the circle. Well, I hope it's unique. I haven't seen it anywhere else. And so, yeah, that's the way I really like to showcase that paper. Then I have a nice rectangle of the gold. And this is some thinner mounting tape that I have on there. I actually found this mounting tape at the Japanese dollar store Daiso. Great deal there. And then the hello is the dimensional sticker, and then we're going to take some die cut flowers. This one, the white daisy, I'm going to lay flat with the liquid glue, and I like to use my bone folder to help me get it down because I get glue all over my fingers when I don't use it. So then the yellow and the pink die cut flower are up on a mounting square, and then again I'm going to use the word happy in the dimensional sticker and place that in the bottom portion of the circle, kind of sticking out there, and that's it for card number 5. Card number 6, I've used my adhesive foam again, and that is the same dimension as that large floral patterned paper, and so it's sticking to the back of it, and it just adds like an 1/8 of an inch of dimension or so. And then I used some double stick adhesive to get that on there, but boy, it was tricky because it covers the full card panel, so I had to be very careful. And then I've done a rectangle. I used a die that I have of this, I think it's gingham, but I'm kind of questioning that, but I think it's a pink gingham, that's what I'm calling it. Then I have the die cut happy to be here, and putting that roughly in the center there, and then we're going to use more of the die cut flowers again and make a little cluster on the left side of that circular sentiment. So I'm showing all these pieces. For the green foliage piece I used both, and one of them I cut in half, well, roughly in half, so that I could have more of that same shade of green, because I just liked how that went better. So the first one here I'm tucking in underneath the pink daisy, and then I'm going to take these two that I butchered, but really, I'm just making them work for me. And I'm hiding the stem and having the 2 leaves poke out there. I think it kind of works. You let me know what you think. And then these other 3, so you don't really know that it came from the one. And then the blue flower, yes, is on a mounting square. And I did cut out a couple of the gold leaves with the die set. These are tinier, smaller leaves. And I'm tucking that one in under the pink daisy, and then the second one I'm going to tuck in behind the blue and pink flowers there. And I don't know why, I think maybe because the Lovely Day has gold also. So the die cut Sentiment Lovely Day, the gold leaves just kind of went with that. Anyway, that's it for card number 6. For card number 7, I loved these phones when I saw them. And I'm calling the pink paper pink windows because they kind of look like windows. I wasn't really sure what to call it. This is another one of those 2/3, 1/3 with the gold strip in the center there, or the middle layout. But this one is going to be a real collage cluster of die cuts. That's the showpiece there. That's the focal point. And for some reason, I had a little excess there. I'm going to just trim that off. That happens to me a lot. I measure. I don't know if I always measure twice, cut once, but I'm just really good at making mistakes. Anyway, so first we're going to start with the gold frame that I punched out there, and I'm going to use some liquid glue and kind of put it in the upper third of the card there. And I'm kind of tilting it slightly. And then, what is this? This is like a green little notebook paper, maybe? Kind of looks like, or a graph paper, green graph paper with the flowers. It's die cut. And then I'm gonna make that go across onto the gold strip and onto the phones. And then I'm gonna take this clipboard piece and put that onto the green, and then all the way over across the gold frame. Then we'll take the blue pen and place that on the right hand side, touching the gold, the green, and the clipboard. And the ampersand, which is the and sign there with the blue, I'm going to put in the kind of bottom left corner of this little cluster. And then a light blue, beautiful phone. I love these old retro phones. I used to have one, but then we never used like a landline, and my husband wanted to get rid of it. So I don't have one now, but it's a rotary phone. I miss them. Anyway, the paper clip I just put on there because I like it. And then we have this die cut sentiment, Little Things Matter Most. I think it works great with these, with all these little things. And then, oh hey there, is also up on mounting squares. The 2 sentiments are on mounting squares. And that is it for card number 7. Card number 8 is a scene card, and if you've followed my channel, you've seen this little die before. It's kind of a curvy die, but you could freehand this pretty easily. But I have the die, so I like using it. So I have given approximate measurements. That's the largest point on those, or the widest point on those cardstocks that I took that measurement from. And then of course the landscape dimension is exact 5 1/4 inches. So then you got the sky, you got the dark green cardstock for the bottom, and we're going to use both of the die cut trees. The first one I'm going to lay flat in sort of on the left hand side there, and then the second one I have up on mounting squares. Add a little dimension, a little bit of interest. Then there's this pink bird. I'm going to place him on the left-hand side with the wing going. That's purposeful. That's my, I guess, artistic choice there. And I'm going to end up trimming off the wing. I'm okay with that. If you don't like that, move him down or something. And then the blue bird is coming in from the other side. I'm going to lay the die-cut sun flat around the center-ish. It's a little more right-hand, but yeah. Then I have this sentiment, Hello Sunshine. I've got that on mounting squares, and the horse, I keep thinking it's a unicorn. There's no corn. The horse is also mounted. And that's it. Card number 8. On to card number 9. We're going to use the stamp set. We're going to do some paper piecing. We've got all kinds of stuff going on in this. I used embossing ink and powders. There's a fine detail clear and a white. So first, I loved this pattern, but I didn't know what to do with it. But I'm really glad I found it a way to work it into a card. And then I've got this white cardstock for my stash that I've stamped on in the spun sugar, and then I believe that's just the clear embossing on that. And I'm going to center this. So large heart, a trio of the smaller hearts, and then the sentiment in the left-hand side. And the focal point here, I use this is the adhesive foam here that I stamped on. And I also stamped on that other pattern paper. So here's the stamping. And I kind of wanted it to look like tea or coffee. So I used, actually used Gathered Twigs oxide ink to stamp onto the adhesive foam and then cut it out with that X-Acto knife of mine. And then I'm paper piecing on the kind of sketchy daisy pattern paper, I guess. And that, then I stamped onto an alcohol-friendly paper, scrap paper, and embossed it in the white ink, the daisies, the top half. And I'm going to place this down. It's adhesive foam, so the back side of this one actually has the adhesive on it still. And then the daisies, I had to add wet glue because the adhesive was sticking to the other paper. But these are the alcohol markers I used. You can kind of see them in the screen. And that was it for card number 9. Hopefully that makes enough sense. I tried to keep it short for the video. Card number 10 has the final third version of the 2/3, 1/3 with a gold strip in the middle card. Now this one I used the die set, and I used that die of the daisy and cut through the 2 layers. So I used the repositionable adhesive to hold it down and put the die on there, ran it through with both cardstocks. It went through the pink, but it gave an impression into the white, and then I fit the die right back into that spot and ran it through again just on the white to get it to go through both layers. I hope that makes sense. Any questions, put them in the comments. And you can see here, my head was terrible in this video. I kept getting in. I did cut out a lot of it, but you saw it there. There was a gap in between the two, but that's the great thing about the gold. It makes up for my bad measurements. And then I'm going to use another one of these stickers that has mounting dimension and all that. Follow your dreams, that goes down. And again, the dimensional white stickers, I just have 3 of the hearts. There's slightly different in size, one's slightly smaller, and I used a little bit of liquid adhesive to help me out there, and I'm kind of tilting one to the right and one a little bit to the left and then the other one to the right, just to kind of bring some balance between the 3 of them, and they're kind of going up. But there is, you can see as I open it here, there is the peekaboo with the die cut, and it's just something different there. I forgot to round my other corner. I have just the bottom right edge rounded for some reason, but that's what I liked. So the bonus card, card number 11, we're going to use the green pattern paper with the beautiful wreaths. This is a very lovely paper. I really like this. And we're going to use the dies again and make that envelope. And this one, you know, I love the shaker. We're going to make a shaker element that can come out and you can use it for other things. So this is a totally interactive, fun card. I'm just showing you here how I put the envelope together using the score lines. You're going to fold the first score line and then again the second one and put that together. There are other videos showing in detail how to put this envelope together and how I lined it. I used the blue heart pattern paper to line the envelope. I just cut it out with the die and then I trimmed off approximately, I don't have an 1/8 inch line on this cutter, or maybe I do, but I wasn't looking, approximately an 1/8 inch from 3 of those sides there. And, you know, you're not going to see the bottom half, so it doesn't really matter there. And I glue that down, because I think it needs to be cut a little more from the bottom, but there's that head again getting in the way. Trouble. Anyway, so that is going to go kind of on the top portion. And then for the bottom, the base, or the, I don't know what to say, the bottom part of the envelope, again, 1/8 of an inch from each, and I think that I need to trim off a little more from the bottom. But that's from the furthest score line, 1/8 of an inch. And so that I'm going to go ahead and glue on, and then I've already folded this one together through the magic of video here, and I'm going to use wet glue to stick it on there to the dimensional envelope there. And I flip it over and use my bone folder to get it nice and secure on there. Oh, I haven't put this top part on yet. This is where I'm going to commit to the paper here. I didn't realize I hadn't done that yet. So need some, I think I use wet glue for this also. Put that down, and then I have a die cut sentiment. You see the word celebrate there. That's on mounting tape that comes in the kit also. I cut it up into all kinds of tiny pieces and use it. And I'm going inside of the envelope with the bone folder just to get it stuck down, because it's only sticking on the little, what, 1/4 inch edge there. Now this is the first shaker element that I made, and in the beginning I had the measurements of that white rectangle, and I've shown these before, how I do it with the packaging and such, so I'm not showing specifically how I made that one, but that one fits in there quite nicely. I am going to show in this video how I made this other one. Using this die cut, I scored down the center to fold it, and then one of the packaging bags, I used my anti-static powder bag a little bit, and then threw some sequins in there, and I'm just measuring the size, and then I'm going to trim off the excess here, because I want it to fit in the envelope but not be too tall. Then we're going to use the double stick tape that comes in the kit, and put a line of the tape along each of the sides here, and some wet glue in the center. Taking off the backing paper of that first side and putting down my little baggie of sequins. Then the wet glue. And I'm going to need to take the paper off again and then press this down. And I have a nice enclosed little bag of sequins, shaker element. And then the die cut sentiment that says good times, I'm going to place on the top of this little ticket tag thing, that die cut that came in the kit. And then that fits right in there. And there's two choices. You could either have this one, or you can make the one with the cardstock backer. They don't quite fit both together, but they could be staggered, and so there's all kinds of options. And that's it. Those are my 10 cards plus one. I hope you really enjoyed seeing the ideas that I've put out there, and hopefully I've shown enough without it being boring. That's the idea. I didn't want to show you things you know how to do already. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Bye!